street over there's a life I could have known, one beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold, but things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known, that would have kept me from the one I have today.
Hello, welcome to it. This is 1100 WSGI. I'm LaVern, and this is One Street Over. What's happening, y'all? One street over from where you live in, right here in Robertson County. We are so blessed because we get to live and work in Robertson County as our mayor, County Mayor Billy Vogel. We'll have one more visit with him, y'all, before he is retiring from office. Bless his heart. I mean, he has been a county commissioner, county mayor for a long time. I forget exactly how many years, but we're going to have one more good visit with him after the county commissioner meeting. I guess it'll be next Tuesday. We'll be visiting with Mayor Billy Vogel. So looking forward to that. Today, we are so blessed to have my friend's kid. I can't say that I know this young man because I know his daddy. Ian Duley is here. And you met his dad, it's been a couple of weeks ago when he came in to talk to us about, there was the conversation we had about Social Security benefits and Medicare, Medicaid, and all those things. But I said, I figure your dad's watching, but you say he just may be super busy, right?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. He might be.
Who knows? But it's so funny because Ken said, "Hey, you need to have my son in because he is, doing some things. And he's got an interesting story." And I said, "Well, that sounds like a really good Faith Friday segment." And we're very intentional. This is in case you're just, finding us for the first time and just kind of let Ian know the whole story. This is a Christian broadcast company. This is a worldwide Christian broadcast company, by the way, via the internet, of course. And Ebenezer Broadcasting owns this. They formed a broadcast company from the Ebenezer Church. And President Ilyu Maldonado is the one who runs things around here. And this is a really cool facility. We've got a Spanish side and an English side, and we have of course, a terrestrial signal that covers our county very well and the edges of the outlying counties. But via the internet, you can get it anywhere. I can listen to it when we go and do mission work down in Mexico, and I can share WDBL with them. And it's good Christian programming in the Spanish language that they can use. And we, have got this wonderful program. And it's just a good thing. And it's just right here in the heart of Robertson County, y'all. People don't even know it. But my kiddo, I teach high school, and my kiddos will say, "Miss Vivio, I saw your podcast." Now, so that's real radio, y'all. So we do a live stream of a real radio broadcast, but it's not quite a podcast. But now this is something your dad said you're interested in, is podcasting and all of that, right?
Yeah, at some point. Yeah, I think so. In the next few months, once
you want to get something
recovered, yeah,
get something going because you do Christian counseling, right?
Well, I used to.
Okay, so
until my story kind of changed that.
Okay, well, because that's one thing that that really perked me up about your story is because I have a son that's a counselor, and man, that's something that we all need counsel. There's just not enough people that realize that you need somebody to talk to, man. You need somebody to share your stuff with. And we do a lot of that through Celebrate Recovery. I work with the Celebrate Recovery program, and that's the big thing we say. There's a verse in scripture. It talks about confess your sins to each other so we can pray for each other so that you can be healed. And I say all the time, I said, once I figured out that sin in your life can be anything that happens in your life, not necessarily things you've done. I was, growing up in a world that was always taught sin is what you've done. Sin is the fallen world. It's what happens around you. Anything to steal you, to rob you of the peace that God has for you. So if you have health issues, if you have people that just don't treat, I mean, if you just have things that happen in this broken world, you know, that's sin. And so when you talk about those things with somebody and you share your story with somebody, it helps. We can all pray for each other and we can be healed and we can see we're not the only one that's dealing with it, right? You know, you share your story. You share your story. And your dad shared part of your story with me. And number one, blew me away. I've known your family for a long time, but I guess we met after you guys were born. And you have a twin sister. And we keep these little miracle cough drops here because this is allergy season.
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
Sometimes
every broadcaster alive keeps a stash of these things because sometimes you just gotta have a little help. But if you've been around broadcasting very long, put it that way, you know what I'm talking about. But if you know, you know. No, but your dad was telling me you have a twin sister, but y'all were supposed to have been triplets, right? So what happened with, and you're about the same age as my twins. And well, you are the same age as my twins. You said you're 35?
Yep.
My twins are 30. What month were you born?
February 5th, 1991.
You're a little bit older than my twins, just barely, just a few months.
Okay.
So there were supposed to be triplets. What happened? Did you, one just was lost before the delivery, right? Something with your mom, right?
Yeah, it was a car wreck they got into.
That's right. I remember now. I remember now. There was a car accident. God, I can't even imagine.
I don't even remember where it was, but
yeah, but
it may have been Bowling Green, I think.
Well, do you know whether or not, because usually a lot of times when you have triplets, there's a set of identicals and then a fraternal to the identicals. So was it a true fraternal triplet situation, or was it your identical twin or your sister's identical twin that was?
I don't know what the technology was like back in 91, but I don't know if they knew. They haven't told me if they know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm really curious because anybody that has twins, if you've ever been in any of the twin and triplet programs, you know that oftentimes triplets, that's what happens. You have a fraternal twin to a set of identical twins, and that's where a lot of triplets come from. And then sometimes you have true identical triplets, which is rare, and to have fraternal triplets is somewhat rare. To have three. So anyway. Nonetheless, I'm always interested when I hear about multiple births. But yeah, I forgot that it was a car accident that affected the third one of y'all. So. So did you enjoy being a twin?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, my sister and I actually got along pretty well compared to other siblings. We hear a lot more of sibling rivalries. Yeah, they kind of fight and stuff, and that's kind of normal. But I was like, we didn't really fight that much. I mean, we had a thing here or there, but we were just, I don't know, we just really.
Well, and being that it was boy-girl twins, because now my boy twin, mine are boys. I had of all boys. Mine would have been just fine not being twins because they were so different. Of course, just they just are brothers with the same birthday. That's all it is. Because I mean, there's just not much similar to them at all, and so they have different interests and everything. So it's quite interesting. But I'm always intrigued to try to see about how twins got along. But it's so interesting your story and how you guys started out. But now you recently had, and again, this is Faith Friday, and Ian is a believer, big time, and God's brought you through some big struggles. So what happened to you recently that you had to deal with?
Collapsed trachea. So over the last 5 years. Good
land. What in the world causes something like that? Is that something that just happened randomly, or did you have an accident or something that caused that? I mean, that's I've never heard of that.
Well, what happened was, kind of funny you bring up the birth thing because it kind of ties back into that. So I was on oxygen for about 8 months as a baby. Okay. So according to the Vanderbilt doctor that I talked to, which I had to go to because I got misdiagnosed for about 4 years as it was getting worse. Yeah. He told me, it's basically something that happens in about 10% of babies who are born premature from the 90s specifically because they didn't have the technology at that time to kind of.
Interesting. Okay, so it's something that was a residual of trauma when you were a baby. That is fascinating. Yeah. And I wonder, I mean, that's something that people that maybe were born during that time that could have might need to know about.
Yeah.
Right? You know, so that if they start having similar symptoms, so what kind of symptoms did you start having from it? Just unable to breathe and stuff, or breathing difficulties?
Well, it started around COVID, right? So that's when it started getting worse. So yeah, it's been progressively getting worse. And I went to one doctor. They misdiagnosed it as bronchitis.
Right.
Then I almost passed out in a Walmart, and I said, "Bro, this isn't." I said, "Dude, this isn't normal." And I said,
"Yeah,
up." Yeah, and then I ended up going to Vanderbilt, and they ended up diagnosing it correctly. But what was your question again?
It was like, how did you realize what was going on? Because there's a lot of preemies from your, because my twins were born a month early, but that was out of necessity because they were just getting so big. They were concerned that we would have trouble in delivery. But were you guys delivered prematurely because of the wreck trauma, or was it because, they were just concerned after what had happened with your mom, being injured? Do you know, or did she go into labor early?
I'm not exactly sure, to be honest.
You need to ask your mom and dad some questions.
I really don't ask a lot.
I've got some questions.
Yeah, I'll have to ask
Miss LaVern had some questions for me.
I do think the car wreck had something to do with it.
Yeah, I would think. But so nonetheless, you had to be on breathing as an infant. And because of that caused this collapsed trachea that you ended up going through. But your symptoms, you were having breathing issues and things, and a lot of it got piggyback on COVID, and they finally figured out, no, he's got a collapsed trachea.
But it got worse, I can tell you. I can tell you about that.
So, so how long did it take for them to finally figure it out?
Well, once I switched doctors, it was super easy. He just gave me a bronchoscopy and a spirometry test, and it was pretty obvious because I was breathing at probably 40% of my lung capacity. I was breathing through a straw. I have pictures of it. It looks like just a little opening of a straw down in my trachea, top and bottom. And then it was, I'm trying to think about it. Let me think for a second. With the trachea, I'm trying to think here.
Well, again, this is something you're still pretty much recovering. So, yeah, because I mean, when did you have your surgery?
It was about 10 months ago. So I'm getting there. I mean,
I was going to say,
I had a lot of muscle atrophy from not.
Yeah. Because I mean, because they ended up having to, cut you from all the way down your chest, right, to take care of it. What did they do exactly? Did they just expand it, or did they have to do a transplant, or what happened? How do they even fix something like that?
Yeah, so the top part of my trachea, they used some sort of balloon device, and they expanded that, and then to get further down, they said they had to cut me open. So I had a scar from kind of like a half scar that you get from open heart surgery, kind of half of that, and they have to crack your sternum, and it's kind of crazy.
God bless you, but you're recovering well.
Yeah, about a month or two, I should be as good as new.
So in that trip, so can you run and do all that kind of stuff now? Are you going to get your lung capacity back, they think?
Yeah, it's pretty much mostly back now. Yeah,
isn't that remarkable? Isn't it amazing what medicine can do? And not do. That's one thing. What Ian was talking about, how long did you go misdiagnosed? Do you know?
I mean, since 2020, yeah, probably.
Wow, until like when did you get to your new doctor? Was it a year ago?
Yeah, it was about September of last year, I think, was when
a year.
Yeah, and
then they got you into surgery pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it quick as they could. Yeah, it was probably October.
Well, here's the thing that people don't realize, and I appreciate you telling this story. We all have so much respect for our doctors, but when something, your body, and I'm sure you guys were prayerfully considering this too. This is again Faith Friday, and we just thought Ian's story was interesting and something we could share here. But I've had experiences where I knew something wasn't right, and the doctor that I was talking to was telling me something that I'm like, no, this is a problem. You have to be your own advocate, and there's nothing wrong. People, you really like your doctors and you don't want to offend them, get a second opinion. Get a second opinion. And aren't you glad you did finally?
Yeah, yeah, I am. And I was also like coughing up blood and mucus every day as it got worse too. That was the other thing I was going to mention earlier.
Yeah. So you've got to at some point, bad. You've got to get some help. But you're a person of faith. Mm-hmm. And so how important was your faith through all of this?
Really important for sure. Yeah. I mean, I was in prayer constantly. I didn't know if I was going to make it at a certain point.
Right. You're married?
No. Well, I'm married to Jesus. I have it on my left hand for a reason for right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's beautiful.
I'm still trying to figure some stuff out right now with my life, and so I'm kind of don't want that kind of attention, even though I get it apparently when I'm skinnier. So.
How funny is that?
Yeah.
So I know other people that do that when they're just like, I don't want to date right now. They'll put a wedding ring on. And they'll still get, people will approach them, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's just a purity. It's just a purity ring. It's got.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Well, and you're just trying to figure out where God wants you in ministry, right?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out.
What part of we all have our spiritual gifts, and what do you think? Okay, what's God telling you is your spiritual gift? Have you? That's the reason why I asked that. Is we were at Flu Ellen this past Sunday, and Patrick Nix, they were talking about, they had several that were being considered for deacon, and we heard some incredible testimonies. It was a beautiful service. But Patrick at one point got to talking about how we all have to figure out what our spiritual gifts are and really work within those and really live those. And it made me really think. It's like, okay, are my spiritual gifts that I'm trying to cultivate, are they really the gifts that God wants me to focus on, or are they the ones that I desire? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that's really important for us to discern. And it's something that we all need to be praying about. So have you kind of figured out, or are you still on that journey? You said you're trying to figure some stuff out. So I'm guessing you're trying to sort that out.
Yeah. I mean, I never thought I would be kind of where I'm at in life, in terms of, I kind of had it all planned out,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm a planner, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, I'm just kind of letting God lead now, which it was really hard to do, I think, when you actually just kind of lean into that. And, but I would say, I guess two of my spiritual gifts are discernment and wisdom. I guess would be two of them that would immediately come to my head when I was doing therapy, but I don't know if I'm going to do this apologetics thing or something else. I don't know what that looks like and what gifts I need for that, but
I gotcha.
I'm going to try it.
I gotcha. When you say apologetics, is there some specific part? And we say apologetics, that's in defensive. That's what that means. And you can be an apologist for anything, but there's the apologetics nowadays is most of the time attributed to issues of faith. People look at, if you hear, I do apologetics, and you just immediately assume, they're in defense of God or creation or Christianity or Christ or something like that. And so what aspect of apologetics are you interested in? Is there some, because there's a lot of different directions you can go. What's your main focus, do you think?
Well, that's the thing I'm still trying to figure out. There's
okay.
Because I went to a kind of apologetics training conference, I guess what you could call it, or a workshop recently with Frank Turek, if you know who he is.
I think you mentioned that name to me, and I've heard it, but tell me a little bit about it.
Well, it's a thing I apparently hold every year. I didn't know about it until I was just scrolling Instagram and saw it. So, and I was able to tell my story there. I condensed it to about 15 minutes, which was really hard to do, but it kind of, and I think one guy there, and they're supposed to give criticism and feedback when you do this. And one of the guys said, he's like, well, when you spoke, it kind of seemed like you were giving two different speeches, one political, one kind of, Christian focus. And I said, yeah, that's kind of true. I don't know what I'm going to do with this story. I don't know where, and that's kind of the two directions I'm kind of torn in, but so I'm not, I wish I was more sure, but I'm still kind of trying to figure that out.
Well, and when you and I talked on the phone, and that we try to stay out of the political stuff here, but sometimes you can't, because as you were saying, you felt like you were going into a counseling program and it was an indoctrination program. It's what you, and the only way you could succeed in it was to sign on to their doctrine, which was against your faith.
Right.
And that's something that we face. I mean, just like there is, I really stay away from politics now, and the reason why is because I think that's what God wants me just to. But that doesn't mean we don't engage. The big things. I ran for Congress, about 10 years ago. John, the kids, my students asked me, "What was that like, Miss Vivio?" And I tell them, I said that John Rose that just ran for governor and got beat. I'm sorry, John, but he beat me. So but anyway. Nonetheless, the main two reasons I ran for Congress, number one was pro-life. Big. I mean, that's my first and foremost. And second was immigration law, because I think it's just ridiculous the way we do immigration. And so, and there's so many, and it's not that hard to fix, y'all. It's really not. I mean, we just need to fix it. But anyway, those were my main two things. So when things pop up on social media about it, I have a hard time not sharing it. And when Massachusetts, I think it was, signed a bill legalizing abortion up to the day of birth, it just made me want to weep. And I shared a post, my friend. Do you know who Omar Hamada is? Have you heard that name?
Sounds a little bit
Dr.
familiar.
Omar Hamada. He's of Lebanese descent. His parents were immigrants from Lebanon, and he was born here. But he's just a brilliant doctor and was a special forces medic. So he's got quite a story. But he also delivered babies. Like I think he 3,000 babies, and he's like, there's never a reason to terminate a baby. At that point, there's no reason. And I shared something he put up, and comments were made about studies of science and all. And I'm like, stop. Number one, I'm sharing this because I feel that the Lord wants me to say this is wrong. And I'm telling you, I think we're going to look back on the era of what we're doing with abortion in this country like we look at the horrors of slavery. I think we're going to repent of it big, and I hope it's in my lifetime that people see how incredibly wrong it was, and that once there's a human being with their own set of DNA with a beating heart that's considered, it's not your life to consider. You may be housing it, but you're housing it because of whatever your activity was. And I know sometimes I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but when you're talking about another life, it's not your life to decide. It's that's a decision for God to make. But just, I will get in that battle. I'll get in that battle, and I'll talk a little bit about immigration law and things like that. But I stay out of a lot of it because I just don't think there's a whole lot I can do about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I don't think we're going to solve the conflicts we have as a society by throwing up our thoughts on social media. You know what I mean? All we do is just bicker, So I don't know. I'm just, trying to figure it out. So I'm sure when it comes to faith and politics and trying to find that mix, that is hard, isn't it? So
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not something I would, I kind of have had the same opinion of you as you. I did, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years ago, but then when you get thrown into the fire, it's kind of,
what do you do?
It changes a little bit.
Yeah. What do you do? Because you don't want to close doors to people. You don't want to be like, okay, this is because I feel this way. Let's shut the door and let's not even communicate, because you can't help anybody doing it that way. So you gotta approach everything. That adage, WWJD, what would Jesus do? How would Jesus handle the political situations we're dealing with now? And that's what, that's where I try to rest, is like, what would Christ do in this situation? And always, try to approach it from that. But I find your story interesting, very much so. And you were talking about, wanting to share your just what's happened in your life. And that's what God gives you, you know? So, and he gives you a story to tell, you tell it, right?
Yep.
Write a book.
Yeah, at some point, maybe.
Yeah, write a book about it, you know, and be prepared for people, because I've written, and sometimes people are interested in it and sometimes they're not, and that's fine. The Lord, you've always heard the thing that if what you're doing is from the Lord, you can't stop it. And if it's not, you can't make it work. You can't force the door open. So he'll open the doors for you. He'll help you. You just be diligent in prayer, man. Just absolutely, you know. But think about how you want to. We've got another half hour to talk, Ian, but I've got to do a couple of breaks. I got to do several breaks, actually. Let me get to the first one here, and we'll continue our conversation. But we're talking with my friend Ian Duley. He's actually a son of a good friend of mine. We had Ken in a couple of weeks ago, and just had the conversation, just your health trauma and all that kind of thing. Just sharing that story. If you know somebody that was on oxygen in the 90s, his symptoms and things, y'all need to know about that in case something like that arises, so you know that this could be a concern, because you had said that it's something that other people that have had that experience have had to deal with. But let's talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty and all the good things they have going on. Barry says, if you want to know the latest about them, he says, you can find out all about us with just a quick Google search. And he says, that's all you have to do is just give us a quick search and you will find out all you need to know. He's got a property right now. This is one they were looking for some history on the other day. And, you put things up on social media, but this is a historic farmhouse up in Franklin, Kentucky that was built in 1860, and it is a cool property. And a lot of people are living up in Kentucky and working in Tennessee. I've got several friends that do that because they can buy a little bit more property if they're across that state line. And the good thing about Exit Prime is there is still a broker in the White House office that can broker deals in Kentucky, and not everybody can. They changed the laws in Kentucky, and so it takes a little bit of extra steps whenever you want to buy property across the state line. But because Barry and Rebecca are part of Exit Prime Realty, that's no problem. Barry was a marketer for 17 years up in Nashville, a vice president of a media marketing company. So he knows the area well, and he knows marketing well, and he knows how to make sure that if you've got property to sell, it's going to be seen brilliantly with walkthrough tours, drone footage, videography, photography that's going to pop off the page, and they're going to want to see more. So if you want to work with Barry in that capacity to make sure your property is getting out there, Rebecca, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. She's been at this a long time, and they're in Cross Plains. They're Robertson Countyans for 30 years plus. They have been right here, our neighbors, and they specialize in Robertson County. But because of their diverse background, they're being raised in Kentucky. They also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. If you want to know more, Barry says Google them, or you can go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com, or you can call them at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or 7424, and let them know you turned sent you. Talking with Ian Duley, and he had quite a story to tell, just from being, having some childhood trauma, ended up having this collapsed trachea, and just being very prayerful and finding the right doctor to help you get over this, and you're doing fabulous. So what are you doing now? I know that you were planning on going to counseling. What are you doing as far as, career-wise? Are you still just trying to figure that out, what you exactly want to do?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. I've still got about a month or two more of recovery, and then after that, I have no idea. I really don't.
Because you've been dealing with an illness, and so you have to recover from that and find your, maybe write a book.
Yeah, maybe.
Join your dad in the insurance world,
Yeah, that's always an option with him.
Yeah. It's like, hey, come on, Ian, I'll put you to work, brother. Come on. Because
I do a little bit of marketing stuff for him on the side.
I kind of thought you did, but that's the thing. He stays very busy. You can give Ken a call if you want to know more. He's a good guy. But what do you want to talk about that we haven't covered today, Ian? What are you thinking?
So, I can tell you some of my story in Syracuse. If you want to hear it.
Yeah, let's hear what you got. But you want to talk a little bit about that? So
yeah, I can give you kind of the shorter version of it.
Okay, let's do that. Okay.
Okay. Well, long story short, So in 2014, I graduated from Harding. That's where I.
Oh, you went to Harding in 2014.
Yeah, that's when I graduated. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was there for about 4 or 5 years. I don't remember how long.
Did you know Jeremiah Vivio? You knew Jeremiah? He
was
played football.
Yeah, at Harding. Was he there during that time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. He was there. He was there.
Okay.
He played all 4. He was there actually. He was redshirted his first year, but then was a starter for 4 years after that.
Okay.
Yeah. You
Cool.
would probably, yeah.
Yeah, I probably saw him on campus.
I'm sure. That's hysterical, but he's in business. He works for HCA. So interesting. So you went and you were at Harding, went into counseling, right? That's what you studied. Okay.
Yep.
So.
And well, actually, I got sorry, my undergrad was in a biblical studies.
Oh, okay.
So then I went to get my master's.
Okay, and it was the master's program at Syracuse where you just go ahead. I'll let you tell what you.
So
without getting too deep into the weeds in it, yeah.
Right. Just general overview. So the general overview is just essentially, I got there, called an active divine intervention. I called the teacher. I took the Miller's Analogies test. If you ever heard of that? Yeah, they don't offer that anymore as like a postgraduate kind of thing. They offer the GRE in terms of joining. So I had to call a bunch of schools around to see who would take it. Got on the phone with the head of the Department of Syracuse, and I'll never forget this moment. He said, if you'd got a hold of anybody else, it would have just kind of shooed you off the phone. But he said, since you got a hold of me, we'll accept, your score. Score's good. And then they accepted me. So, and I had no idea about politics or anything like that.
And the thing is, and that's a prestigious university to get into this master's program, to get accepted into it. You're like, oh, wow.
It was top 5 in the country.
Yeah. You're like, okay, this is a God thing. But when you got there, it was a little different, right?
Yeah. I think it was still a God thing, but it was not what I expected.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and then everything kind of changed for 2 reasons. One, they were one of the first 3 programs in the country to have an in-person clinic where they transitioned minors.
Oh, man.
And the second issue that we had throughout the semester, just to kind of give you the short of it, is they wanted to force me to counsel gay couples. And I said, well, I'm not going to do that. So,
yeah, because I mean, it's just, and here's the thing. It's if you are convicted that that's not something that you need to do, that's a conviction on your heart, And so they were trying to force you into situations that were against your thoughts and beliefs. And the idea of the little ones, I have an article that I wrote about. That's one of the hardest things, and this is something we're going to be real sensitive to because we know it's a lot of triggers. But kiddos that are not allowed to just grow, I was a super big tomboy, and I don't know if did you ever see the article that I wrote that I wished I'd been born a boy?
I think my dad showed me that one. Yeah.
Okay. And the reason why I wrote that, it was right after I had been at the Blaze, working at the Blaze for a couple of years. And it was right after that. And it was about the time that Bruce Jenner and all of that was going on. Yeah. And I just sat down and I was like, oh, wow. Cause I mean, I was a girl that hated being a girl until I was in high school. Still didn't really like it, but I hung out with the boys. I dressed, very tomboys, what we called it then. I mean, I'm still a tomboy. I mean, say the way I dress, I mean, that's still, I'm still got a lot of, very masculine type things about me. And I have good male friends that have very feminine things about them. But just let us be and let us grow through it and not try to tell us that, well, you might be you might need to do something surgically to change this. And to do that to children breaks my heart beyond belief that we're not allowing our kids to live their lives. And I'm so thankful that I didn't grow up in this era because I know without a doubt, I was such an adamant tomboy. I don't have any doubt they would have been counseling me as like, well, you might want to consider this. It's like, really? Leave me alone. Let the Lord do what the Lord's going to do with me, right? So, and you just couldn't do it, right?
Yeah. And I mean, and the day that I kind of fought the faculty a lot was after they told me that they were, at the time, actively working with the state legislature in New York to lower the age of where they could transition kids to age 6 or 7. As low as
See,
that.
I don't even understand that. That's another thing that, I talk about. We're gonna get to a place where we're gonna look back at what we did with abortion, and I think this physical transition that we force with gender issues is going to be another one. We're going to just look back in horror, and we see it. We see it in the news where so many are going, I wish people had left me alone. I mean, you're seeing adults now. I wish you'd have just left me alone. And whether or not they come to a resolve of their gender issues to physically make those changes is so traumatic. It's breathtaking. But because it was either one. It's either you do what we say or you're out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, did they kick you out of the program, or did you choose to leave?
Okay, so yeah, that's kind of fast forward to the end there, but that's
so you had a big conflict because of your faith.
Yeah.
So did it end your choice, or did they force the issue?
They ended up forcing the issue.
Really?
Yeah. So because they were confident they could change my views. They were actually pretty arrogant. When I was
like, we'll convince you.
Yeah.
Really.
And the ethics teacher was one I kind of had it out with a lot. And but there was a second semester film they show students. And I found out about it, and so I watched it, and then that really upset them like a lot. That's when everything changed, and then long story short of that is they decided then they wanted to re-educate me. So,
wow.
And they said essentially two things. They said, well, we're going to force you to go to gay pride parades, and then you're going to read any Marxist or gay literature that we deem necessary. So, or you're kicked out. So
because you were not comfortable with, oh man, wow. And this is at Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that, and honestly, guys, in the colleges, you've got to be super careful because there's a lot of programs out there that they want to save you from your Christianity, or they want to save you from your faith, or your all of these things. And you've got to be so careful. And I know it's a tough subject. It is a tough subject. I have so many people who I love dearly, who I don't want to mishear me. I love you, and we don't have to agree on things. And but as much as you say I can't change your mind, you can't change mine. And so respect me as much as I respect you and love you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can love and work with and counsel and do all the things, but it's just, this is such a hard topic.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a hard topic. And, I wish there were an easy answer. I wish there were an easy answer for it. Well, the easy answer is, find Christ and he'll guide you. I have one of my sons that's very involved in ministry. Let me see if I can find his quote. People will ask me all the time about controversial things, about the gender issues and all of that. And, especially with me being in the school system, you have to be super careful about, what you say to kiddos and all of that, because you have to be respectful of their parents and the things that I wish I could find. Oh, come on. What, he had a quote. Let me find it. But anyway, he's basically said, if somebody asked me for my opinion about a controversial political issue that is very dependent upon what I believe as a follower of Christ, he says, it doesn't matter what I think. Get to know God. And it says, my opinion doesn't matter. The only opinion that matters is the Lord's. And when you get to know him, he'll make it clear. Something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that I lean into. But we're talking to Ian Duley, and this is a really tough subject because, we're finding this out in a lot of our colleges that they're hostile to people of faith and to our beliefs and thoughts, and not because we're hostile to the other side in any way, but they want to save us from our They want to save us from our faith. They want to reinvent us, and they accuse us of wanting to reinvent them. Just live your life, be happy, and I love you, and I truly do. But we don't have to agree on everything. We can love and be good friends, and but you don't have to fix me, and I won't try to fix you. But I am going to be Jesus to you at every chance I do, because I know that He is the answer. Right? I mean, would you say that's a fair assessment of what you're feeling too?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
okay.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah,
yeah. So very good. Talking with Ian Duley, and we're going to pause for a minute and talk about our friends over at Valor Mortgage. If you are in the business of doing something different, if you want to maybe get a new house, or maybe you want to refi the one that you're in, or maybe you would like to maybe get an investment property. I've mentioned several times that one of my kiddos did that. I got a phone call from, "Hey, Mom, we bought a house." I'm like, "Oh, have you sold the one you're in?" He goes, "No, we're going to use it as a rental property." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So they're, wanting to help invest in their future. So they were able to rent the house that they were in and buy a new house. And so maybe that's something you're wanting to do. Is that something that's feasibly doable for you? That's really one of the first things that you need to find out. And you find that out by calling Chris and the experienced loan officers at Valor to see what you can get pre-approved for today. And you can call them at 615-671-9178, 615-671-9178, or go to valor.mortgage, and get pre-approved today, whether it's a VA loan, an FHA loan, conventional jumbo financing, all the tools you need to get you to the closing table. You're going to find them, because they're not just in the business of mortgages. They're in the business of making home ownership possible for everyone. They're not going to treat you like a number, like all of these folks that are just inundating you on social media, on they're making the spam phone calls, they're hitting your email. You're a number to them. Don't fall for it. Call Chris and the experienced loan officers at Valor Mortgage today, because when it matters most, you deserve a lender you can trust. Buy with confidence. Buy with Valor. Valor Mortgage, NMLS number 1210804, DBA of Encore Lending Group, NMLS 1249911, equal housing lender, subject to credit approval, rates and terms subject to change without notice, not a commitment to lend. Let them know you turned cinch. Okay, talking with Ian Duley. This is Faith Friday, about issues of faith and the struggle walking in this world in the things that are forced on us, and being faithful to what God has called us to, without shutting the doors on people that you love, that you are, you have different understandings of life and and the things that God is calling us to. I'm trying to be super careful how I say this, because I got so many people I love that I don't want to shut doors on. I don't, and it's hard. It is so hard. But I do, we deal with it in the schools. We have kids that are struggling, and I just love them. I just love them. I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them. And that's what I do, and that's what we're called to do. And just show them Christ. And I'm not saying you get in there and, read them Bible scriptures and all that. It's in the life you live, and the way you treat them, and the way you love on them, and care about the things that matter to them. And plant seeds, right? So what else you want to talk about, Ian?
Well, I don't know, to be honest with you.
So what you got any big plans this weekend?
We're going to my grandparents this weekend to hang out with. Yeah,
I got you. That's just so important, the family and the time you spend with the family. It's something that's hard to make time for. Do you get to see your sister much?
Sometimes, but she's about as busy as you are. She has 3 kids now, and
Is she local?
Yeah, she lives in Portland.
Oh, good. So you do get some time. Okay.
Oh yeah, I do get some. Yeah, but she is really busy. They do the farming thing now. They have a little farm now on their property. So
oh, that's fun.
It's pretty cute.
Isn't that's pretty cute? I love it. Pretty cute. Everybody's getting into the farm. Probably got some chickens and some goats. And
was that a thing during COVID? I noticed a lot of people online just started getting chickens. Was that a thing? It was
kinda
okay, because I saw it online. I'm like, is this a trend or something? Should I get chickens? What is this?
That's hysterical. Well, more and more people, they're of the opinion that, you look at the world and you think, okay, I really don't think we're going to have that event that's going to knock out communications and all that. It's going to knock out all the satellites, and our phones aren't going to work. And you hear of those scenarios, those Armageddon type things, and we all go, it's not going to happen in our lifetime. But then in the back of your mind, you're going, but what if something does happen? And so you think, I want to make sure I can provide for myself. And so, and two, people are tired of going to the store and only thing that they can buy are things that are so processed and they're not, it's not real food anymore, Mm-hmm. And chicken eggs, unfortunately, they're one of those things that the quality of what you get in the store versus what you can raise is so different. I have a bunch of pear trees. The pears that I have are small, and they got bug bites on them because I don't spray them. But you go to the grocery store and they're perfect pears. Well, they're not as nutritiously sound because mine have not been altered in any way. They're organic, right? And there is something to be said for that. So because people want that organic and they want that healthier food, for a lot of people, it's a thing of faith too, because they feel like, people talk about the Daniel diet of eating, the fruits and the vegetables and turning away from the rich food that the king offered to Daniel and, eating that real food. So I think that's a lot of it. But yeah. And when they were home during COVID, it's like, let's start a garden. Let's get some chickens. Yeah. Let's do our thing. We've got time. Let's do it. So, but that's good. Where do you go to church?
Ethos in Nashville.
Oh, tell me about Ethos. That's what we can talk about. I want to hear about that. What's it about? I've heard some really beautiful things about Ethos.
Yeah, they're really, really good church, very mission outward focused. I like that a lot.
How long have you been there?
I have been there since, because the collapsed trachea and stuff,
Sure.
It's been on and off more going remote the last,
a little bit of time, but
yeah, I started going there, I think around in 2016, but it's been on and off since. It's been more consistent, obviously, the last 10 months.
Sure.
So,
because I have heard that that's a very, it's non-denominational, right? Which I like non-denominational church right now. That's really where I would love to really, I'm a member at the Madison Church of Christ. I always will be because that's my family. That's my spiritual family. I've been there since 1989. And, but I love visiting other churches, just like we were at Epiphany. We were at Fluellen this past Sunday, and we're on the road on Sunday so much because our kids are so scattered. But Ethos is one that I have heard about for many years. And it's more, when it comes to the world of the non-denominational, it's not like a really loud band. It's more low key. Are they still like guitars? And it's not a loud worship, or is it now?
Yeah, they do have a band up there. Yeah,
so it's a full band now.
Yeah,
used to be it was more just kind of strings. It was more acoustic.
Yeah,
kind of unplugged. So it's not an unplugged worship anymore?
No, not anymore, no.
Okay, because I had heard in the beginning it was an unplugged worship. And I honestly, that's my favorite, is unplugged, very...
I like that a little more, but...
Yeah, to me, it's just more spiritual. Now, I do love... I love the good, powerful, contemporary Christian music. It's just that heart thumping stuff. But man, when it comes to worship, and I guess there's a place for it, but I like to unplug. I want to balance. But anyway, I've heard Ethos is really a beautiful faith community. Where do they meet now?
Well, they used to meet at the Cannery Bar.
I knew they did, but I didn't know where they were.
Acoustic, and I don't know what happened between 2016 and 25 because it actually, I guess, something with the rent, something didn't work out there. They had 3 different locations. Now it's Marathon Music Works. It's like some sort of garage in Nashville that's right off of it's near the stadium in Nashville.
Okay, so it's downtown.
Yeah, and
okay.
And it's actually kind of a bar too, which is interesting. So
yeah, interesting.
Very hipster vibes.
Oh, God, that's what I've heard too. That's what I've heard too.
I kind of call it a hipster Church of Christ, the band. That's kind of what I call it.
Oh, how interesting. But I've always heard some really great things about Ethos, and they do have a really good online presence. I need to check them out online and kind of see what's going on with them. That's one I haven't really checked into, but nonetheless, so I think your dad mentioned to me that that's where you worship. So, but we're talking with Ian Duley, and he had in getting his whole story. He had number one, had a traumatic arrival into this world with a twin sister and lost a triplet from a car accident. So that's, the miracle in and of itself that you guys made it. And because you were on oxygen at birth, caused a collapsed trachea they didn't find out about until his 30s. And you said a doctor at Vanderbilt is the one that put you back together?
Yeah, he was an allergist too, and he was some foreign doctor. I went to the wrong place, I guess. I wasn't supposed to go there. His name was Dr. Dvorsky. I'll never forget his name. But yeah, and he came in white as a ghost, and I said, there's something wrong, isn't there? He said, yeah. He said, it could be like 4 different things, but we're going to figure it out.
Oh, wow. So
it was kind of crazy.
He took care of it, and so they were able to repair it, and it looks like you're doing great. So the Lord's good, and he's faithful, and he takes you through these journeys. And we also talked a little bit about his journey at Syracuse and how it was either you do what we say or you're out of the program. And sometimes, people, they just can't make the wedding cake, I mean, it's just because that's a conviction for them, and you got to respect that, y'all, and let somebody else make your wedding cake, you know what I mean? I don't understand that. I don't understand why you can't just say, okay, that's fine. We don't have to agree. Love you. Bye. I don't understand. I don't understand that. And to hear that you had that experience and completely changed your mind about wanting to go into counseling then, right? But do you think you may still end up in the Christian counseling world, or?
I'm going to say no, because
you think that ship has sailed for you?
Yeah, I can tell you why.
Okay.
So I watched I was a big fan. I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. So of him in certain ways, but there was a time where it kind of clicked for me because I was wondering how to reconcile, the humanistic profession with my faith, because the profession is very different. And there was an interview where he talked to Richard Dawkins.
Oh, okay.
Famous atheist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he was talking to Jordan about, because they don't really like each other, apparently.
Yeah.
But Richard said, with the way Jordan sees things, he wants to bring us up to the divine instead of the divine coming down, which is how he sees the Bible. And I thought, I think that's a great way. I think he meant it this way, but I don't think I actually knew the fullness of what he was saying. I think that's a great way to talk about what Christianity is versus what the humanistic counseling profession is. It's a lot of, at least from my understanding, just a lot of kind of leaning towards Gnostic thought a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just us coming up to the divine, like one is self-actualizing, the other one is self-sacrificing. It's, I would say, pretty diametrically opposed, which means just really different, like opposite. So
you think that a lot of the counseling is going to embrace Gnosticism? To some degree, is that what you're saying?
Yes, and it already has. I think that's why you're seeing
a lot have, yes.
Yeah, and I think that's why you're seeing the trans stuff and the gay stuff, because there's a lot of that. I've studied a lot. It used to keep me up at night. I'm a thinker. I think a lot about stuff. I'm a little different than my dad.
Shut the brain down.
Yeah,
I get you. I'm the same way. I mean, I have to really work to shut the brain down to where I can sleep at night. But I get it. So interesting. I never really thought about it. Instead of something, if you study, if you do, deep studies of Scripture and don't really understand what Gnosticism is, it's what they were dealing with when you read the passages in 1st and 2nd Timothy and what he was dealing with in Ephesus and what Paul was addressing when he wrote to Timothy. There was a really heavy Gnosticism influence where people were saying that anything of the world was wrong, and that there was so many. There was one guy that I can't remember his name, but his girlfriend would claim to be the Holy Spirit. I mean, and that's something that's written about in ancient history. I mean, it's there. And John, the Apostle John, was dealing with it in a very big way. And so it's people who were distorting. They saw the movement toward Christ, and then they decided to distort it for their own means. And so you see this this a resurgence of it today, And so I think that's a really interesting observation. I never really thought about the echoes of Gnosticism and what we're seeing in the humanism and the things that people are promoting today. That's fascinating. Interesting. Well, guys, let me do one more break and we'll come back and wrap it up if you have any parting thoughts, okay? And we need to talk about our UPS store right here on 513 Memorial Boulevard in Springfield, the UPS store, the print store, the everything store. You're going to love working with them. I mean, whatever you've got going. If you're coming in and you want to see something, I think we need to challenge them and see what's the strangest thing we can bring in to see if they can ship it. I've seen some pretty strange things come in there, and they're like, "Sure, no problem," but they can make it happen for you at the UPS store. They are the everything store. They're the notary store. If you want to go in and get something notarized, what's really cool is they can take care of that because everybody there is a notary. And, there used to be that whenever I would go to have to get something notarized, if somebody's like, "Hey, I need you to get this notarized and send it back to me," I would just roll my eyes and groan because trying to find, before I discovered the UPS store had notaries, I would go, somebody'd say, "Well, so-and-so, they've got a notary." And I'd go there, "Oh, they're out to lunch." Or it's just a hassle. Well, no more. Go to the UPS store. Everybody there can notarize your items and get them out for you, and they'll even ship them off for you. If you've got anything to return to Amazon, that's your Amazon drop-off point, and they've even got a self-service kiosk. So if you're in there and they're busy, you can take care of it yourself. It is so convenient and such nice people. We like to compare them to Chick-fil-A employees. I think they're even nicer than Chick-fil-A employees, by the way. They're at 513 Memorial Boulevard here in Springfield, and hours to suit everyone. They're opening here in just a few minutes. 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Monday through Friday are their hours, 8 to 6:30, 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. On Saturday, they're open from 9 to 3, and on Sunday, they're open from 10 to 3, and they would love to serve you. When you get by there, please let them know U-Turn sent you. Ian Duley, my friend, my friend's son. It's the first time I got to meet Ian, but we wanted to share his story because there's faith events throughout it. This is Faith Friday. Any parting thoughts before we finish up our time?
Well, trying to think of an encouragement to give everybody is just, have faith and trust in Jesus.
Amen. Share the gospel. Our preacher up at Madison, he put up a question. Let me see if I can find it real quick that I thought was really, I was just like, it's just like, hey, yeah, this is what we all need to be focusing on. Let me see. Oh, no, maybe it's on his page, but it was something he goes, "Hi, here's a question I want you to ponder. What have you done to intentionally share the gospel with somebody today?" Here we go. He goes, "I want your thoughts on this question. Can you honestly say that this week I did everything I could to share the gospel?" And the gospel, that word just means the good news. So have you shared the good news of Jesus Christ with anyone? We're doing it right now. If you don't know Jesus Christ, we're asking you to reach out, pick up the Bible, read, find a church to be a part of, go and worship this weekend. Call me, reach out to me, reach out to Ian or anybody that you know is a person of faith, and we will love you. We don't have to agree on anything, but we will love you with the love of Jesus and work very hard to be his hands and feet and to help you see, man, it is really good news because living in kingdom is awesome. It's awesome. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would.
Amen. Thank you for joining me today. It's been fun. It's been funny and nice talking with you. And thank you guys for joining us today. Monday, we should be hearing from Caleb Stratton. It'll be Law Enforcement Day. And then on Tuesday, we are going to have a final visit with Mayor Billy Vogel before he retires from office. And you're definitely not going to want to miss that. So I hope you'll be here. Find a church again this weekend and share Jesus with somebody. Find Jesus if you don't know him, guys. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. This is 1100 WSGI.